Hi, my name is Rene Capone. I am talking to you from San Francisco in my artist loft live space. And my friend said I needed to give a better presentation of who I am and who my artwork is, so this is why we're doing this. Let's go. We'll take you on a tour of stuff. We put everything on the walls. We're going to make it look professional, unlike the one I submitted before. This is an older piece from about 4 years ago I still have. I think I mentioned before, I'm very lucky that most of the pieces I made I don't actually own anymore. So this was one that I actually still love and still own, and here it is. I had an obsession with making lines for a while. I thought it meant movement and time and space and stuff like that. It's called Sorrowing Genius. It's a statue in some fancy place somewhere. We can go this way. This is one of my most popular images. I still have the original because the boy who bought it is a friend of mine who's been away at college for the past 4 years, so I've been keeping it for him, but I made prints of this one and sold them online. It's probably my most popular image. Archer, obviously he's an archer. Metallic paint does a wonder. Speaking of metallic paint, this was a tarot card, the Two of Swords. As you can see, he has two swords, and he is there. I particularly like this one because he is naked, and yet it's not sexual, and it's very important. A lot of people like to lump me into the category with erotic art, but I really don't think that I am an erotic artist. It's just people like nudity, and they get off on it. So that's what happens. This is one of my most, I think, best pieces ever. And I gave it to a friend of mine named Adam because of The Mask, and he is a director and an actor and a playwright, and it just seemed too perfect, and it was his birthday and I was feeling nice. So I gave it to him, but it really suits him and it is perfect for him. And he brought it back over to put on my wall so we could show it. And let's go, well, this is one of my, this is a print of a piece I no longer own, but it's a print of a piece I liked a lot. It was Hope and Danger, that's what it was called. And this was a boyfriend of mine at the time, and I was particularly not pleased with our relationship, so I thought it'd be funny if some alligators came and ate him. So, but you know, it's still loving. He didn't get eaten yet. I liked that one a lot. The swan in the background I thought was beautiful. And these two here are brand new. That was in the last 2 months, and this fresh from a couple weeks ago. I just finished it. This was the first painting I made. Well, these two were the first paintings I made in a long time after taking a break from painting and making graphic novels. So I made a series of graphic novels called Hedgehog Boy that took up 4 years of my life. I mean, I painted a little bit here and there in between them, but it was a lot of condensed work. It turns out I'm still good at painting, so we're going to keep with that. I was a little afraid, actually, when I made these two pieces, because it's been so long since I actually painted a painting. But as you can see, I don't really paint. I actually draw and paint kind of simultaneously, so there's a lot of graphic elements within my painting. I mean, I can do softness and all that sort of stuff, but I still like lines, so there are a lot of lines in that painting. You know what? That's a lot better than I remember. And we're back. Now we're going to talk about something a little different from the straightforward fine art painting. It is what I became somewhat known for, and I love it, but I did have a drastic departure around the year 2007, 2008, where I had to make a graphic novel. I was reading a lot of material in the realm of yaoi, which is graphic novels from Japan, which involve gay boy love stories. And I was very taken with them, and I started to have a nervous breakdown about having an abusive childhood. And for some reason, I decided I would put the two together, which makes no sense at all, but I did it anyway. And I came up with Hedgehog Boy. Of course, he's a metaphor for whatever happens to him. He's a hedgehog. He can't be hurt. So I made up this world, characters, and put all these people in it. But it started out as paintings before it was a graphic novel. So the first thing was a series of about 12 paintings, and the ones that I still have left from this series are here. Luckily, again, most of them are placed in people's homes, and I'm very happy about that. But these are the ones that are left. This is Hedgehog Boy and his boyfriend Kitty. They live in the woods together in a tree and wear dead animals on their heads. Now, in real life, this would be terribly disgusting, but in the realm of fantasy, it can be cute. They don't decompose in my paintings. They stay the same. This is Hedgehog Boy's arch nemesis, Possum. And this is Possum's henchman, Raccoon Boy, who's looking terribly devious and wonderful there. But I should mention where all this came from. It happened one day when I picked up this book in a used bookstore in San Francisco. My friend Adam actually kind of made me buy it. And he, turns out he actually teaches this in school, so he's kind of like, very lovingly pushed it on me. And it did change my life, because it turned out that everything I'd been made up to that point actually had a point. I didn't realize it, and I was sort of trapped in this mythic universe from day one that I didn't even question or think about until I had reason to, and this did it. So, from there, the paintings I decided weren't enough. I wasn't satisfied. It wasn't enough to cure my emotions. It wasn't enough to satisfy myself. So therefore I made the graphic novel. One of the paintings is on the cover. The back is there. And it is 52 pages of a story of a boy who runs away from an abusive home and meets a boyfriend, and then his boyfriend gets kidnapped. He has to rescue him. And it goes on for about 152 pages. And these are the characters. That is Hedgehog Boy. This is sort of a fantasy image where all the children behind him are disgruntled and pissed off and have swords. Your worst nightmare. In the book, there's a character called Flower Diamond. Her name is Flower Frankenstein, but in the book she changes her name to Flower Diamond, which she did in real life. I thought it was beautiful and poetic because all the children in the book have problems and they have to get over them, and one of the morals is that you have to do it yourself. So in the book, she just takes off the spark plugs out of her neck and says, "I'm Flower Diamond from now on." So you count. And then quite oddly, I met over the internet, I met a woman from Amsterdam who made me this hat. I guess she's inspired by it. So I really can become Hedgehog Boy, which I have in many street fairs. And it's terribly heavy though. It's very hard to wear. But it sends a message. So do I look spiky? So then after I made The Legend of Hedgehog Boy, I made part 2. Part 1 was featured in the San Francisco Public Library in the, what is that place called? It was also featured in Magnet in the Castro. But the one that showed the library was fantastic and magical, and it was the first time I did a public reading. And it turns out I'm pretty good at it. So I made book 2 after that, and I want to talk about book 2 because in it, you see a character emerges, which is sort of the metaphor for the damaged psyche of the character called Frank the Bear. Frank the Bear is not real, but he's a sewn-up, sort of disgruntled, pissed-off teddy bear who has to be sewn up in the jungle, and this is him. And he gets to do everything and say everything that Hedgehog Boy himself can't. Stuff like, "You want a piece of me? Come on down and get me, motherfucker." Stuff like that, You can't really have a childhood character say that. And this is the back cover. It says, "You're made of magic and I love you for it. Me and you saving the universe daily." Okay. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out me and my work. This is Rene Capone from San Francisco, signing off. Have a nice day. You can see more of my work online at renecapone.com. Thank you.